if you've been to Disneyland Paris, then maybe you want to tell me your opinions of them. Maybe you will agree with my opinions. Maybe you want to hear a different perspective. And if you've never been, then maybe this could be a really good insight into the theme park if you're thinking about going. Okay, let's crack on, whatever. Hello and welcome back, fellow foolish mortals, to the most foolish channel on the internet. As you can see, I've got my Room for One More top on, and that is from Pickle Vicks. So make sure that you use code FoolishPickle for 10% off your order when you buy any t-shirt from Pickle Vicks. And also, I want to say a big thank you to Polka Dots Pixie Dust. I won that quiz. You know that quiz I won over, you can watch it. I'll just post a link. But thank you so much. How cute is this? So, what do those influency people do? It's cute and it kind of matches my top, so that's why. Matchy. Yes, thank you so much to Emma for my prize. Also, please excuse me just holding this microphone. I can't work out how to work it properly, so for now I'm just going to be holding it until I work out how to get rid of the background noise of my flappy arms. I will make you aware that I am going to be posting every single Sunday and occasionally on a weekday if I feel like it. So make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my videos. And whilst you're down there, you may as well just leave a thumbs up. I mean, it's the same kind of area, isn't it? Okay, so let's crack on for today's video. So what I've done is I've gone onto the Disneyland Paris website and I'm just going to go through all of them. They're apparently in alphabetical order, even though they aren't. This could be a fairly long video, to be fair. Okay, so the first one on the list, apparently in alphabetical order, is Mickey's PhilharMagic. So this is basically a 4D cinema experience. I'd say it's more of a 3D experience with some squirting water and occasional on your chair, which always makes me jump even though I know when it's coming. The design of the characters are a bit odd. Some of them, they're obviously 3D, so they look a bit odd. And it's great if it's raining or if it's really hot, if your feet ache, if you've got young ones. I think it's brilliant. Also, there's not that much that comes out at you, but there's a lot that sort of goes inward. The next one is apparently in alphabetical order, is It's a Small World. I personally think that It's a Small World is slightly dull, but it is a classic. I think it's perfect if you've got families. When I was a child, I absolutely loved this ride. It's obviously very repetitive. I'm sure you know the It's a Small World song. If you don't, then how. I would recommend going on it at least once if you've never been on it before and making up your own mind. I believe the reason that I don't really like the song very much is because when I stood in the queue to meet Cheshire Cat, I heard it for 45 minutes, that tune, outside of the building. I don't know how the cast members don't go a little bit mad. It's Adventure Isle. Now when it says Adventure Isle, I think it means the area of Adventureland, right? But anyway, there's got the Adventureland caves, which I want to talk about. So I love the Adventureland caves. They're so cute. I still don't know my way around them, even though I've been around them lots. And you can sometimes find this really big bridge. It took me so long to find it. I saw it and I was like, what was that? I don't understand what that is. But I eventually found it, and it's so good, and you get amazing views. You've also got the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse as well. So I definitely recommend Adventureland for anybody. It's definitely really fun, and it is mostly accessible for anybody. If you do have that ability for walking upstairs, then you have the option to explore further. Okay, so the next one is Alice's Curious Labyrinth. I love Alice's Curious Labyrinth. It's my favourite part of Fantasyland. It's like my favourite space for like looking around and scenery, and I may be a little bit biased because, as you can see, I love Alice in Wonderland. So I love Alice in Wonderland. I love the entire aesthetic of Alice in Wonderland. There isn't a character in Alice in Wonderland that I don't like. And it is a maze, but it is mostly a walkthrough so that you don't miss any of the actual scenery and attractions, like the main ones as you go around. Be aware as well that not to completely exit the entire maze, because I did that twice. I'm dumb. There's actually this other area that you can go to that is the Queen of Hearts castle, and you've got even more scenery. Inside the castle is amazing as well, and the views from the top of that castle is beautiful. You can see all over Fantasyland, and you can see the main castle itself in the Disneyland park, and some brilliant photo opportunities there as well. So my next one on this list is Autopia. I wish that I have been on Autopia so that I'm able to recommend to you, or not recommend to you, Autopia. I've never been on it, and I don't really like cars. It's not really my thing. I'd love to go on Test Track though. That one really appeals to me, but obviously that's not in Disneyland Paris. So moving on to Big Thunder Mountain. Oh my goodness, Big Thunder Mountain. I love this ride. First time I went back, I didn't go on this ride because I was like, well, that looks like a really dull train ride that you want an hour's queue wait for. Like, no. I'm sorry, but Alton Towers and Thorpe Park and Shetty Manor, they've got all runaway train rides and they're like 15-minute wait. I don't need to go on this. Oh my gosh, I was wrong. I went on it and I'm so glad I did. I think we waited about 45 minutes for it. After that, I have only ever fast passed it. In this queue, there isn't much to do or look at compared to other Disney queues that you may be familiar with, because a lot of Disney queues, they do have scenery to look at. The most exciting part really is that there's 2 queues and you can maybe try and beat the other side. I don't know what side's better to queue at, to be honest with you. I think it is fairly equal. I think we chose the left side. I don't know if that. I think we did actually beat the people. But I always fast pass it. It's the first thing that I do once I get into the park. Usually is once Frontierland opens, I get to that fast pass machine and there is a queue. Just a queue, but that queue is worth standing in to get them fast pass tickets because Big Thunder Mountain can go so high up. And queue time is ridiculous, because it's this perfect family coaster for like young ones and also people like myself or older. It doesn't go upside down or anything like that. There's no big thrills in it overly. It's even good. I'd say like I would take my nana on it. Honestly, I think she'd enjoy it. Maybe not. And the thing is, when you look at it, you just sort of see a part of it. You see it go around and then go around the Big Thunder Mountain. You're like, oh, that looks a bit boring. It goes a bit slow. But oh my goodness, when you get on it and you go inside the mountain a few times, right? Oh, you get a few. Whoo! It goes up and down and round about, and you're in the dark, and then lights flashing, and there's dynamite, and oh my goodness, it is so much fun, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm mad at my past self for just thinking it was a boring coaster, but in a way, I'm glad that I just thought it was a boring coaster because it gave me this amazing thrill. There's a Blanc-Neige, eller seven names. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This ride was really, 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 really bumpy and uncomfortable for anybody who wasn't a little child. That queue goes really high. But as you go along, like at the end of the day, if you can make it to the end of the day with your little ones, the queue goes on to like 15, 10, sometimes 5 minutes. This has had a revamp recently because it's so much smoother and it has, I think, slowed down a bit because it used to sort of just do this and you couldn't really see anything because your head, like your brain was shaking in your skull, and all you'd see is occasionally the head going apple, 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 and that was kind of it. She really comes at you pushing that apple like a pushy sales assistant. But I will say at the end they really need to update that scary mannequin. It's so weird. It doesn't look like Snow White. It looks like something they bought from a shop and then just put like an animatronic thing inside her arm. And it looks so bad. It is good for little ones, and I think it's definitely worth going on. Okay, moving on to Buzz Lightyear's Laser Blast. Oh my goodness, I love this ride. It's so good. Okay, so many people don't actually really rate this ride. The majority of my friends are kind of like, I forgot about that one. I forgot we went on that. I'm sorry, but that's a good ride, okay? Okay, so have you ever been on one of those rides? I know they're in many, many theme parks. You sort of travel along and you have to like shoot the targets. That is basically what it is, but it's with Buzz Lightyear. You're sort of fighting Zurg. It's almost like we're in that video game, you know, that they're playing in Toy Story. But you can control the cart yourself, which is so much fun. And you can just like blast as you go along on the targets, and the different targets are worth different amounts. Once you get inside the queue line, you've got some good scenery and you feel more immersive. You've got an amazing animatronic Buzz Lightyear, which is brilliant and I love to see. The projected face is absolutely hilarious. He's very like this with his eyes. There's one part of it which I think is really fun. It kind of spaces me out a little bit. Get it? Like space. So you go through this like projective tunnel thing where you're not shooting anything, and if you go backwards and spin slightly, oh, it makes you go, whoo, it spins you out a little bit. That, yeah, I think it's really, really fun. It's a long ride. You get a really good length of time riding that, and your finger hurts by the end, so that shows you've had a good ride on it. Carl's Cruise Rally, is that how you say it? It's in the studios. I've never been on it. It definitely looks like a perfect kiddie ride. It's outside and the cars just sort of go around each other a bit. It's really good for little ones, I think, that one. Petite Train Berserk. Casey Jr. is so cute. It's so cute. I definitely recommend going on, and no matter what your age group, at least once. It's definitely more catered for the little ones. Definitely good for people who are maybe too scared to go on Big Thunder Mountain, or a bit too young under that height line. But oh my goodness, I enjoy it as well. And you can actually choose to go backwards on some of the carts too. And the design of the train is beautiful. So now we're going to move on to Crush's Coaster. And I love Crush's Coaster so much. But oh my goodness, those queues, that queue line, and it breaks down a lot. It breaks down. My recommendation is when you're going to go to the studios, if you want to go on Crush's Coaster, queue up for it before it opens. Seriously, and you still may be queuing around about an hour. If the single ride is open, then definitely go for that. You may queue maybe around 40 minutes instead. Me and my dad were going to ride it, and we queued for maybe, I'd say, about 45 minutes, and then we gave up because it just kept breaking down. And I'm so glad we did give up and duck under those railings to continue with our Disney fun, because it did actually end up getting completely broken down and needing to be evacuated. It's happened every single time I've gone with this. It's broken down at least once, and it really just sort of wastes your time standing in that queue, which is really unfortunate. That ride itself is actually sort of worth waiting for, especially when it's running okay. Usually you probably will still be waiting around 50 minutes to an hour. I'd say go on the single rider line if you can. There is a height restriction, and be aware that it may spin you out because it's literally a spinny ride, and a lot of it is in the dark with lighting effects as well, so do be aware of that before you go on it. They do have a game that you can play in the queue, which I think is brilliant, because that queue line is long and it's not very interesting to look at either. I hope that they add something to it to make it more interesting, to be honest with you, because you don't really get anything until you get inside, and then you can just really see sequel animatronics and the ride coaster actually going by itself. You sort of get in your little turtle shell, and it's like you're riding the East Coast Current. So you've sort of had the traditional dark ride type thing at first, and sort of goes around, and animatronics and things from Nemo and Friends and all that. You see Bruce the shark, which is great. And what I love is you can't obviously choose because it spins, but I love when you sort of go back and then you emerge into darkness. It spins a lot. Obviously, it is sort of like a spinball whizzer sort of thing. If you're familiar with that ride, it's sort of weight based. So if you've got somebody who's heavier, you're going to spin around, but you will still spin no matter what. It is an actual coaster coaster. It's almost like Big Thunder Mountain type thing, but indoors and shorter. It's quite a short ride, but it is thrilling as well, and I would definitely recommend going on it at least once if those sort of thrills are your thing. The next one is Disneyland Railroad. I have never been on the Disneyland Railroad. It has been completely closed every single time I've been, except for once. And then that one time I just sort of didn't really want to go on it, didn't really shout to me that much. I really want to go on it one day, because obviously that's going to be a classic ride to go on. Followed by this is Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Oh, they're so cute. But usually that queue can go on, and this is going to be a lot of those kiddies' favourite ride. You get to control your Dumbo, where you go up and down, and you also get a beautiful view of Fantasyland, and you can see the castle, and it's really pretty, and it's great for a relax with your feet. I feel like it goes on a long time. I don't know if that's because I'm me and I prefer bigger thrill rides, but I definitely feel a little bit bored after a while. I sort of go, oh, pretty, and then I'm a bit like, a bit dull now. But a lot of people love this ride. It is definitely a classic, so I say go on it, see what you think. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Okay, this one. Okay, this is the first Disney upside down ride. There is a loop, a whole one loop. I don't know how to put this. It kind of hurts your head, and the loop can feel very slow. I know that they're doing reworks to it, so maybe it'll be a bit better. Yeah, it clatters a little bit. They need to put some padding on some of those things, and they might be doing that, and they might be making it smoother. I have no idea. But yeah, the actual theming itself is pretty cute. The ride isn't very long. I know the queues can get pretty long. I wouldn't queue more than around half an hour to 40 minutes. And you like upside down rides, and I would definitely recommend going on that. Le Tonnerre du Dragon. Am I saying that right? The Dragon's Lair. Oh my goodness, I love this. Okay, so underneath the castle, or to the side of the castle, there's a really cute dragon. It's a dragon animatronic. Some people believe it to be Maleficent, but apparently it's like Merlin's dragon or something like that. I think it's lovely and I think it's brilliant. And when something flashes at it, it goes and lets off a roar like, "Why'd you wake me? Why?" Because that's literally me every single morning. My alarm goes off. It's got an egg, it's got its tail moving, it's got some brilliant detail once your eyes have adjusted to the darkness. It breathes smoke as well. Oh, it's good. It's a good animatronic. I love that animatronic. If you've got little ones, might be a little bit scary for them. Like little ones, but anything I'd say older than like 4 or 5, they'll be probably completely fine. It depends how robust your children are. I know myself, when I went to Cheddar Gorge and saw that massive dragon, I thought we were all going to die. So moving on to the Carousel de Lancelot, or Lancelot's Carousel. Okay, so this is in Fantasyland and it is cute. I mean, who doesn't love a cute little carousel? And the designs on the carousel are absolutely beautiful, honestly. And they're quite high up, a few of them, and some of them you've got carriages if you don't want to get onto a horsey. And if you have like younger children or disabled access. I find carousels really boring, but I find them also really cute and I like going on them for some reason and I don't ever really know why. I think it's quite a long ride for a carousel as well, to be honest with you. It's a really good traditional ride, and of course without a carousel we wouldn't have Disney in the first place. The Passage Enchanted de Aladdin, is that correct? It's an Aladdin enchanted passageway. It's not overly exciting, but it's a really sweet walkthrough to have a look at, so I'd recommend just having a little pass through there. It won't take much time at all. So you've got displays of the Aladdin story behind glass with miniature motion animatronics that you can look at, and it's all lit up. So it just tells the story of Aladdin in general. Obviously the whole Cave of Wonders and Whole New World and Genie and all that jazz. Le Pays de Contes de Fées. Is that correct? It's the Storybook Canal. So the Storybook Canal again is perfect for your little ones. I keep saying that. If you've been to Legoland and you've been in one of those boats and they go through the different fairy tale stories, it's sort of like that, but everything's sort of miniaturized and you go through the different Disney intellectual property. It's really good if it's a hot day or if your feet are aching. I think it's quite sweet. And you can be like, oh look, it's Little Mermaid, oh look, it's Peter in the Wolf. And yeah, I think it's a really sweet ride. I definitely go on it again. I think I've only been on it once, but I definitely go on it again. And you get to go through the Cave of Wonders as well. But yeah, so I think I would recommend that. La Mystery du Nautilus. This is a fun for all ages walkthrough. It's probably my least favourite walkthrough because I went through it for the first time on a Halloween soiree, and the way that they were sort of like, come through here, it's going to be a really spooky, fun time, like walkthrough. And I thought things were really jumping out at me, and I was like, oh, this be good. But it turns out it was just normal walkthrough. And they hadn't done anything to it, so I was a little bit disappointed. But when I've gone through again a couple of times, I'm like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. I've been through it once per trip now, like since that one time. It's basically like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Captain Nautilus's submarine. The entirety of Discoveryland is basically the Tomorrowland that you would have in America, or based on Jules Verne inspired aesthetic and novels, so I think that's why they've got that there, and it's a brilliant addition. You see Captain Nautilus's organ and his face comes up occasionally, and the big woo of it is you get attacked by a giant squid. Not overly exciting, but it's a sweet walkthrough and it's more immersive walkthrough than say the Aladdin walkthrough, for instance. La Tepe Volante. Or the flying carpets. So the flying carpets is right next to Crush's Coaster in the studios, and it's basically Dumbo with flying carpets. There's not much of a view either, unfortunately. But if you just want to go on Dumbo for the fun of going on Dumbo, not for the views or anything, just for the spinny bit, and you may as well go on the flying carpets because there's never a queue. There's maybe, I think 5 minutes is the longest queue. It's brilliant for the little ones in the studio as well. Definitely the little ones. I'm not really sure why people really go on this ride. Other than maybe if they like Aladdin, or they just want to go on the ride for the sake of saying that they've been on the ride. Voyages de Pinocchio! Or this the story of Pinocchio or whatever. But it's basically from Jiminy Cricket's viewpoint. It's basically like Snow White, but slightly better. I think overall it's a better ride than the Snow White one, and I feel like it's slightly longer actually, and it's a bit smoother. But it's much more colourful, there's more to look at, and I think the animatronics are slightly better. And the effect with the blue fairy is lovely as well. Definitely perfect for the little ones again. But I say when it's raining, or if your feet hurt, that's definitely one to go for. And for some reason the queues for that one are less, even though I think that it's a better ride than Snow White personally. Next one, Mad Hatter's Teacups. Oh my goodness, I love the Mad Hatter's Teacups. It's probably my favourite ride in Fantasyland. So, like I said before, I do love Alice in Wonderland. And also teacups are fun because you get all spinny. Okay, so this is the thing. When you're on those teacups, be aware that that thing does not spin in the direction you think it spins in. Because I have been duped too many times. It turns out you actually spin the other way, and so it's like to the left, you spin to the left, and that is actually the way that it spins. I always thought it was to the right. That's what my instinct says, is to do it that way. Apparently that's not correct. Orbitron! I've never been on it, so I can't really recommend. To me, it looks like a big Dumbo, so I've never really liked the idea of going on it because it just looks a bit dull for me. It is in Discoveryland, and I love the aesthetic of it. Apparently, it's actually way better than Dumbo. I was told this slightly after my latest trip, which was in 2019, of course, and yeah, apparently it's actually faster and higher than Dumbo, so it now makes me actually want to go on and give it a go. So my next one is Peter Pan's Flight. This is my favourite of the Fantasyland dark rides. So it is the same sort of idea that you may have with Snow White or Pinocchio. However, with Peter Pan's Flight, those queues are crazy. Now please try and fast pass that thing because those queues can get really big. So if you can get a fast pass, if you can somehow get a fast pass for Peter Pan's Flight, then I would definitely recommend doing so. You're in this flying pirate boat, and it's really cool. And then you're like flying over London, and then you fly over Neverland, and you basically look at the story of Peter Pan essentially. The animatronics aren't that great, but the effects, they feel like you're flying, and I think it's amazing. The queue is so long, but the ride is so short. It's brilliant. I think it's so cleverly done. It really does feel like you're like flying to Neverland. And then my next one. Okay, I wonder if you can guess this one. I'll give you a clue. No, it's not Haunted Mansion because Haunted Mansion is not actually at Disneyland Paris. It's actually Phantom Manor. So Phantom Manor is my favourite aesthetic ever. And this story is so good, and it actually ties into Big Thunder Mountain, or the story of, okay, if you can just look up at the story before you go, that's great. It's all over YouTube. The same concept of Haunted Mansion, but it is slightly different, of course. But you go through the entire house and then the graveyard scene, and if you're familiar with Haunted Mansion, it's sort of that kind of idea. But the different suitors, I think, are a brilliant addition to the story. I definitely enjoy that. And of course, we love the soundtrack and the whole atmosphere as a whole. I think it's brilliant. And there's so many cute little gimmicks and stories and puns as you go along as well. Little heads and stuff, and the little goose piano and the ballroom scene. It is so sweet. I love it all so much. And it's a very long ride for what you get. So you can time it quite decently. And it sometimes has a 13-minute ride queue, which I think is brilliant because usually it would be either 10 or 15. And as you go out, you can go and see the gravestones as well, and don't miss out on those gravestones because they got some funny punnies. So moving on to Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh my goodness, I love this ride. This ride is basically similar idea of Phantom Manor, but on water with pirates. And you've got amazing animatronics again, and I think that they're amazing. And the yo-ho, yo-ho, like the whole song, again, I just think it's brilliant. And I love that it's such a good length of a ride. It's very fun. You've got a lot to look at. The full story is really immersive. And oh my god, the smell is so good. They need to just bottle that smell so I can just... Also, the queue, once you're sort of inside the queue line, then you've got a lot to look at, and it's a good atmosphere. You really feel like you're sort of there. I don't know why, I always like these sort of like the Hollywood pirate type atmosphere. I think everyone would enjoy this ride. Also, I think my favourite place to sit on that ride is the front. Because you can't really see as much in the back and you're sort of late to the party, as it were. And as you go down the ramp, that's the only place you're really going to get wet, if that's kind of your jam. I feel like you can request to be at the front. I'm not really sure. I feel like you can. maybe not at peak season. When I was a young'un, I definitely enjoyed Pirates of the Caribbean as well, and obviously now they sort of based it off of the film more with the updates. But I think it's really, really, really good. I really enjoy it. Okay, so my next one is the Princess Pavilion. I've never done it. The queue's always too long, but this is where you meet a surprise princess. Brilliant for little ones who love princesses. Just not for me. Okay, next one is RC Racer, which is in Toy Story Land, and it basically just makes you feel small, like a toy, and it's really effective. And it's so cool in that area. But the RC Racer is probably the thrill ride of that area. So it's basically like an extreme pirate boat, with the pirate ship things that swing. But you're like strapped in, you've got a place for your bags, and then it sort of goes like this on a track. It's not a very long ride, but usually the queue's around 25 to 30 minutes. I think it's the only ride that I really enjoy in Toy Story Lands personally, and it really makes your belly go. If you know that feeling, that roly-poly feeling. Next one is Ratatouille, The Adventure. Now, Ratatouille, oh my goodness, it's such a cute ride. Obviously, we're going to be getting it in Epcot, French Pavilion, and it's basically just going to be a copycat of the one in Disneyland Paris. It is essentially like a 4D ride, but I'd say it's more like a 5D ride. It's trackless. You sort of have your little glasses on and you get ready to get into a little rat. I'd say it's perfect to go on as a single rider. The queue's like 5-10 minutes, and sometimes the queue can get really, really, really long on the other side. But yeah, it's amazing. It really makes you feel shrunk down to a rat size, and it takes you around like the Remy Kitchen adventure, I suppose. And it's really fun, and it's really immersive, and you've got a good mix of props and like 3D screens that a lot of people rate it really, really highly for a good family ride. It's definitely not my favourite ride, but I really do enjoy it, and so I definitely recommend doing it. And I believe it's fully accessible as well, for all parties, and I think little ones will enjoy it as much as older ones. Okay, so my next one is the Sleeping Beauty Castle. The Sleeping Beauty Castle, oh my goodness, it is iconic, let's be honest, and it is so beautiful, and I'm sure you've seen pictures. The front and back is both gorgeous. You can go inside and there are shops. There's a glass workshop as well, which is my favourite one of that, and also a Christmas shop. And then upstairs you can actually do a walkthrough of the Sleeping Beauty story. The storybooks are completely in French, and then the stained glass windows show the story of Sleeping Beauty, and I think it's so beautifully done. At the end you can go outside onto the balcony and have a look all over Fantasyland, and it is so lovely to see, and it's definitely my favourite castle of all of the Disney castles. But I don't know if that's just me being biased, but it's definitely a beautiful castle and I love it very, very much. It's close to my heart. It is my home. The next one that I'm going to talk about is Star Tours, The Adventure Continues. So if you love Star Wars, you will love Star Tours. You basically go on this spaceship thing that is to do with Star Wars. I don't know my Star Wars, I'm sorry. Let me try and think how to explain this. So it's like an airport, and it's sort of like an alien airport, and you've got C-3PO and also R2-D2, animatronics, and some other things. I don't know what they're called, and it's really effective. It's really well done. You go through it, and there is a different few options of Star Tours experiences that you can have, but I don't know if you can ask which they are. You possibly can. I've only really enjoyed one of those versions. There are some people that really enjoy a lot of all of those versions. I think if you like Star Wars, you're more likely to enjoy them. But one of them for me I found was the most effective. You sort of go on, and then C-3PO is your host, and it's a simulation ride, and it's the only simulation ride that I've ever found has worked for me. It's also 3D, so things come out at you, rarely, but they do. And it's really fun. It feels like you're flying. It's really good immersive experience. You may get motion sick, but then I guess you will obviously know for yourself whether or not 3D works for you. The Slinky Dog Zigzag Spin. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. It's just like Slinky Dog Dash. I wish we had Slinky Dog Dash. That looks so good. But no, this Slinky Dog, he just goes around in a circle. This is perfect for little ones. Little ones. It's really good for little ones. It just goes around in a circle, essentially. There's not really much more to it. It's Slinky Dog on a circle. Okay, Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. Apparently that was in alphabetical order. I don't think it was. So this is Space Mountain with an overlay of Star Wars. I honestly like it. Many people want the main one back, but I actually think that this is really good. I like both versions. The thing is, though, they haven't really updated the queue area to fit Star Wars. It's all very steampunky looking things, and it's really cute, but you get on and then it doesn't really match the whole thing. I think that in recent years they have actually made it smoother for some reason. I don't know if this is true or not, but from my experience, the first time I went on it when it was Space Mountain, that was rickety as heck on my head. And then the latest time that I've been on it, that has actually been, I think it was rickety on my head since being Hyperspace Mountain as well, you know. The latest time I went, it was a lot smoother, and I don't know if that's because I was literally right at the very, very front. I've never been right at the very, very front before. I know that obviously right at the back you'd be more likely to get a bit of woo. Yeah, I think it's really fun. I really enjoy that ride. Oh my goodness, I really do. And I'm not a Star Wars fan at all, but really, I mean, I've got to sing along and I've got to pretend that I'm flying, you know, I'm in that spaceship. It's very immersive and I think it's really, really, really fun. It does go upside down and it is in the dark. It's definitely not for the little ones, for sure. I think it's definitely really fun if you like thrill rides. It goes quite fast, it's pretty intense. But I think personally, I really, really enjoy that. Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror. Okay, we're into the T's. I can't ask for the tea on Tower of Terror. That sounds really bad. Don't spill your tea on Tower of Terror. Why are you drinking tea on Tower of Terror? Okay, so Tower of Terror. Oh my goodness, the brave enough. Are you brave enough? Oh my god, that was great. I love that. So in 2019, they did this "Are You Brave Enough" type thing for Tower of Terror for Halloween, and oh my goodness, it was so good. And you had this like girl, and it was really fun. It was so creepy. It was such a good update, and I know there's different drop sequences as well. It is like a drop tower. And it's like a lift, but for somebody who doesn't really like drop towers or lifts, I really enjoy it. I think because you can't see out, you are in a room, and it's like constant dropping. It's not like you go up and then down. It's like different, and you've got that story. It's like a dark ride as well, and you've got the whole story of the Twilight Zone, and I think it's brilliant. And if they ever turn it into Guardians of the Galaxy, I will be so annoyed. If you don't like that roly-poly feeling in your stomach, and if you're quite sensitive to really spooky content, maybe just don't ride that one. And so one of my friends went on with me, and I thought she was having the best time of her life because she was there having a good old laugh. I mean, she was holding on, but I thought she just holding on. I was just there like, yay! Living my best life. It turns out she really, really hated it and she came off quite shaken. And then I've had another friend who really hates wheel rides and he went on it and he loved it and he was there like, woo! So I think it really just does depend. Maybe it's to do with the story and how sensitive you are to that sort of feeling of dropping. You get some really fun photos on that. I've never had a good photo on that, but some of the photos. My next one! Thunder Mesa Riverboat. Okay, so this is a cute boat ride and you go around Thunder Mountain, see some cute things. Not very appealed to me that much though. I think it's really good for people who just want to have a little break. I think you just get some really cute views, especially of Phantom Manor. Toys Soldiers Parachute Drop. Another one that makes you go gurgly in your tummy, and it's kind of like a starting point if you want to go on Tower of Terror, I suppose. I again have not actually been on this because the queue ride always seems to be long and I don't really understand why. It's probably going to be another one of those things where it's actually really thrilling when you get on, isn't it? Like Big Thunder Mountain was. It looks fun, I guess. I think it's more for younger ones, but I know people my age who really like it, so I can't really advise on that one, I'm afraid. And coming soon, we've got the Avengers coming to the Disneyland Paris studios, so I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do with Rock and Roller Coaster, because Rock and Roller Coaster was my favourite ever ride ever, and that was going to be an Iron Man overlay. So I hope, obviously it will still fit, but I'm not a Marvel fan, so hopefully it will work, and hopefully I won't be too disappointed in Disney. But thank you so much for watching. That's all of the attractions on this list, and thank you for listening to me waffle on. I know this has been a long video, but I hope that it has helped you. If you've been to Disneyland Paris before, what do you think of my opinions on these rides? And if you've never been, then hopefully you will find this useful. Thank you so much for all your support and for being here and watching me today and for clicking on this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Have a magical day. Bye!